When I was growing up, my dad and I lived with my grandparents. He had me when he was a teenager and got full custody. I was the daughter my grandparents never had, and they doted on me. When I was 6, my grandpa passed away. This story takes place about 5 months after that. It was a Saturday, and my dad was at work. My grandma decided to take me to McDonald's for lunch, and like any 6-year-old, I was thrilled. We got our food and sat down at a table. We were the only ones eating inside at the time. About 10 minutes later, a scraggly looking man walked in, ordered a meal, and sat down at a table diagonally from us. My grandma had her back to him, but I could see him perfectly. He was in his mid-50s with wiry, dirty white hair and a beard. I noticed that under the table, he had something dark, pink, and wrinkly in his lap, and he kept glancing at me while rubbing it. In kindergarten, we learned about stranger danger, and it clicked in my 6-year-old head that what he was doing was wrong. I got really queasy and nervous. I didn't want to tell my grandma because I thought he might hurt us. Instead, I put my Happy Meal box in front of my face to block the view. I'd lost my appetite. Grandma asked if I was full, and I just nodded. When we got home, I started crying and told her about the man. She hugged me and said, "It's all right, I'll take care of it." After I was out of earshot, she called the McDonald's. It turns out he was still there. The manager called the police, who showed up and arrested the guy. When they told him to stand up, everything was still hanging out of his shorts. The manager offered us a month's worth of free Happy Meals, but I don't think we ever went back for them. Next up, we have a story from someone who had to rely on McDonald's for internet. I was living in a low-income apartment, and my mom and I couldn't afford an internet provider. This meant I used unprotected Wi-Fi from neighbors. When their internet went out, I had to walk down to McDonald's to use their free Wi-Fi. One day, as I was about to leave, my next-door neighbor, an older guy named Joe, stopped me. He said he and another neighbor were going for coffee and offered to buy me one. I figured, why not? Joe is a hunchback with a gut and his easy-to-pesk beard full of crumbs. We got to McDonald's, and he bought me a coffee. As soon as he sat down, he asked in a raspy voice, "So, boy, ever heard of God's DNA?" I was baffled. He went on to inform me that God's DNA is what makes men genetically superior to women. I blew him off and quietly moved to another booth. Soon, a barrage of other freaky, bearded guys came in and out, talking to him. They kept staring at me when they thought I wasn't looking, feeling creeped out. I decided to leave when Joe went to the bathroom. I folded up my laptop and headed out into the cold Minnesota winter. I was almost home when I heard a truck slowly rolling up behind me. It was Joe, and next to him was another one of the bearded guys from McDonald's. I waved, but got no response. After that, every time I went to McDonald's, either Joe or one of his buddies would be there, just leering at me. Eventually, someone broke into Joe's apartment and stole his bike, so he moved away. I later learned he was trading his food stamps for drugs and telling women he wanted to. Well, let's just say it was weird. After he'd left, I never saw the McDonald's stalkers again. Our next story comes from a McDonald's employee. I work at a small McDonald's in the South, and I've seen some strange things. I was working the counter around 7 p.m. on a busy night. I noticed an extremely tall guy with a shaved head talking to a little girl who looked about 5 or 6. He had a little boy about the same age on his shoulders. They were beautiful kids, blonde hair, blue eyes, but something felt wrong. I heard him whisper, "How old are you?" "What grown man asks a kid that?" Then he said something that made my heart sink. "You should come with me now. I have a little brother who's 6'2". Let's go play with him." He began to walk to the exit with the boy on his shoulders and the girl tagging along. I immediately bolted for the door to stop him, just as a woman with blonde hair came out of the bathroom shouting, "Hey, where are you going?" The tall guy froze, his eyes wide with panic. The lady scooped up her daughter and reached for her son as the guy let him down, stammering, "Oh, I was just playing with them. They're really nice kids." The mom faked a smile, but her eyes screamed, "Stay away from my children." The guy hurried out the front door. Who knows what would have happened if she had UNT come out of the bathroom at that exact moment. And for our final story tonight, a late night encounter in a McDonald's restroom. I'm a 23-year-old guy in Florida. A few months ago, around midnight, I was getting so I texted a friend and we decided to hang out at our usual secluded park. After a couple hours of chatting, she got hungry. So we headed to a 24/7 McDonald's. She ordered her food while I went to the restroom. As soon as I walked in, I saw a guy standing at the hand dryer. He was hunched over it and wasn't moving. I washed my hands, but he was at the only dryer, and the paper towels were empty. I awkwardly asked if he was done, but he didn't respond. Thoroughly creeped out, I dried my hands on my shirt and left. About 20 minutes later, we were heading back to the car when my friend had to use the restroom. I figured I'd go again to surely the guy would be gone. Wrong. He was still standing at the dryer, mumbling to himself. I used to stall hearing him hit the dryer button over and over. As I tried to walk past him, he stepped back, blocking my path, and just stared at me. He was around my age. He just stared and said, "Excuse me?" I rushed out. A few seconds later, he walked out and sat at a table near me, just staring. My friend came out and jokingly asked, "Made a new friend in there?" As we were leaving, he started cackling like a madman. Then he stopped.